Hello, I'm Billy Gross, a senior planner with the City of South San Francisco. Since 2019, the city has been working on Shape SSF, an update to our general plan. The general plan is the city's blueprint to guide policy and development over the next 20 years. It has an impact on every aspect of our community, including safety, parks, transportation, and housing. The general plan team has gathered community feedback at each step of the planning process. We're at that point again as we transition into the policies phase. To begin the next round of community conversations, we have developed policy frameworks which highlight key potential outcomes, performance metrics, and guiding policies on topics such as sustainability, health and environmental justice, mobility, and safety. Now, we want to hear your feedback to these frameworks. In order to provide context and to explain why these topics matter for South San Francisco, our team of expert consultants have created primer videos alongside some of the frameworks. We hope you find these videos helpful, and we thank you for participating. Please don't forget to provide your comments on the policy frameworks by Friday, April 16th.
I'm going to be giving a pretty high-level primer, I guess, on sustainability and climate change and really why that's important in South San Francisco. And then what can we do to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions and hopefully avoid kind of the worst case scenario when it comes to the climate impacts like sea level rise. So what is sustainability? Sustainability is really the ability to meet the needs of the present without compromising the future generations from meeting their own needs. And this is a definition that is from the Brundtland Commission, but it really captures the intent and the spirit of sustainability. And true sustainability is the intersection of the three topics you can see kind of in this diagram here. And it's people, planet, and profit, or prosperity in this case. And all three really affect each other, and doing something in one place really can have an impact on the other areas. And where they all kind of come together harmoniously is what we try and define as sustainable. So the importance of practicing sustainability has become even more of a priority as we see the potential impacts of climate change really affecting all three of these aspects of sustainability. And climate change is really part of the environmental sustainability realm, but changes to that also affect people and profit as well. So stepping back a little bit, greenhouse gas emissions are what we have discovered are really the thing fueling climate change. And so climate change is caused by the increase in these greenhouse gas emissions or greenhouse gases in the atmosphere that trap heat and cause a warming effect. And that warming effect creates climate change. And that's really the disruption of historical, climate patterns that we've seen throughout history. So these are some of the most important GHGs that often are, when we talk about greenhouse gas emissions, we're talking about carbon dioxide, but we're talking about carbon dioxide equivalent, which is really a combination of all of these things. So over the last, few hundred thousand years, we've seen changes in greenhouse gas emissions. Some of them are naturally occurring, but what we've really seen since the Industrial Revolution is kind of human-induced climate change and a change in greenhouse gas levels. So this graph shows how we're seeing this large increase in atmospheric levels of these greenhouse gases. And these are kind of caused by several things. The combustion of fossil fuels is probably the most important one, as well as land use changes. And those have to do with agricultural practices, deforestation, and things like that. And so that's really causing this atmospheric warming that's leading to other changes in Earth systems and patterns. And these include patterns in weather events, so rainfall, snow, temperatures, melting of glaciers and ice, creating sea level rise, and also the warming of our oceans, and also chemistry changes in our oceans as well. So why is this important, and why is this important really in South San Francisco? So California and South San Francisco are already experiencing the effects of climate change, and both gradual with sea level rise, but also kind of immediate, like excessive heat days, poor air quality. We're also entering a new period of drought, which is something to keep in mind. So we already see these impacting kind of our daily lives and how we live. And we also know that these hazards disproportionately affect the most sensitive populations within the city. So in light of this, the state has been taking climate action really starting in 2006 with AB 32, but it passed SB 32, which extended the life of AB 32 to adopt emissions reduction targets for the entire state, which local jurisdictions are asked to really help contribute to. So SB 32 adopted the reduction targets of a 40% emissions reduction below 1990 levels by 2030 and an 80% reduction by 2050.
Let folks know that when we mean vulnerable populations, we're talking about children and older adults. We're talking about low-income populations, people who don't speak English very well, people who lack health insurance, the people who live or work near fire, flooding-prone areas. We're also talking about communities of color. We're talking about renters, and we're also talking about populations with chronic and acute illnesses like asthma.
So where are these greenhouse gases coming from? So primarily in a municipal setting like South San Francisco, transportation, energy use, so natural gas and electricity, solid waste, water, and construction and lawn and garden equipment are the main contributors to greenhouse gas emissions within the city.
And finally, we welcome you to come and join us at our series of upcoming policy meetings for the general plan update. These start on March 15th and run through March 31st. We'd love to see you there. Thank you very much and have a nice afternoon.